Sinahi magazine for the blind.
Today we'll look at a group of words that we call quantifiers, like many, few, much, and little. So can you tell me what do we mean by a quantifier? We saw that in a previous lesson. What is a quantifier? What does it describe? Yes?
Can I answer?
Yes.
I thought it's in English, but
Money.
degree. It's degree.
No, Sumaya, Jilan spoke before you. Let me listen first to Jilan, then I'll come back to you. Okay. Yes,
Okay.
Jilan?
الماني والماتش a lot of يعني اللي نستخدمها بالأعداد والأشياء اللي
In
تعاد.
English, please.
The things we cannot count and we can.
You are defining countable and uncountable nouns. I'm talking
بالضبط.
about...
Yeah, exactly. Countable.
No, I'm not talking about countable and non-countable nouns. I'm asking you to give me a short definition of the word quantifier. What does it describe? What does it mean? No? You don't remember?
No.
I think many degree of.
Yes, Sumaya?
I think many. Some maybe.
I need a definition. You're correct. Quantifiers are words like many, much, but I want you to define the word. What does it describe? What does it mean? What is it exactly, a quantifier? Susie, can you answer? Heavy.
I know that, but I can't say by English. Really, I can't define that.
You can give it a try.
I know what's this, but I don't know how can I say.
Try. You may get it right, who knows? Don't be shy. Just try. We are here to learn.
Really, I don't know what I say. What words that
to use. Okay.
I can say. Yes.
It's fine. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Quantifiers are words added before a noun to give an indication of the quantity of that noun. In simpler terms, a quantifier gives information about how large or how small the quantity of something is. Okay? It can also give information about a certain amount or number of something. So quantifiers go before nouns and they describe the amount or the number. Okay? They give the measurement of something in terms of how much, how many. Is it okay?
Okay.
Yes, Miss, it's okay. It's okay.
Now, in most languages, there's maybe just one word to describe a big quantity, a certain amount, or a small quantity. But in English, we have several words, okay, for each idea. And for example, sometimes you have to use many to describe a large amount, and sometimes you have to use much. For a small amount, it is sometimes little and sometimes few. So let's look at some quantifiers. Let's begin with much, little, and a little. These are used with uncountable nouns. Who tell me what do we mean by uncountable nouns?
It's think you can count. For example, 1, 2, 3.
We can count?
We can count, yes.
We can't count.
Countable noun, it's
Uncountable
like
nouns.
uncountable. It's not think not countable. For example, milk. We can count milk, sugar. Yeah.
Good. So uncountable nouns are all the things that we can't add numbers to. We can't describe the amount in terms of numbers. For example, you can say 1 book, 2 books, 3 books, but not 1 cheese, 2 cheeses, 7 cheeses, because cheese is an uncountable noun. And you have to say much cheese. The opposite of much is little. So if much means a large amount of something uncountable, little means a small amount of it. Okay? Much cheese, the opposite, little cheese. And a little is in between them, in between much and little, which means not too much and not too little. It's just in between. Is it okay? Concerning the use of much, usage of much, little, and little.
Okay, miss.
Okay, yes, okay.
Can you give me examples using the words much, the quantifiers much, little, and a little? Much, we use it with large quantities, large amounts of an uncountable thing. Little for a small amount of a non-countable thing, and a little for some, for neither too much nor too little, just in between these two. So can you give me examples using much, little, and a little? Yes, you have to try. I'm gonna pick. Yes, Shireen, give me an example.
Can I?
Yes, Sumay.
We have much of milk, but we have little of sugar. And
We don't say of. We have much milk and little sugar in the kitchen, for example.
Yeah.
Yes, good. Thank you. Yes, who else? Heavy. Hurry up. Time is going by.
Can I answer? We have much rice and little water in the house.
Good. Thank you, Gila.
Can I say?
How about a little? Yes, Susie.
Okay. We have much money and little bread.
Bread.
Yes.
You can say a little instead of little.
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Can I try with a little? Give me a little of cheese.
Give me a little cheese. Good. Good, Sumaya. Moving on now to many, few, and a few. And these are used with countable nouns. Can you give me a definition to countable nouns? What do we mean by countable nouns?
Can I?
Countable? Yeah, go ahead.
Countable nouns The nouns we can count it. Yes,
Mhm.
like chair. Yes.
Good. These are the nouns that we can add numbers to. We can count.
Yes.
Yeah, we can measure their amount
Yes.
in terms of numbers.
We can make it plural. Plural. Yes.
Good. Perfect. That's it, Shireen. We can make them into plural. Perfect, Shireen. Nice job. So again, countable nouns are the nouns that we can add numbers to. We can count, okay? We can measure in terms of numbers. As Shireen said, like chair, 1 chair, 7 chairs. We can put them in the plural. And here, be very careful that not all countable nouns take the plural S. We have some irregular plurals, and remember that these are also countable nouns, like the words child. This is singular. The plural of child is children. 1 child, 7 children. Woman is the singular. 1 woman, 10 women. Okay? So, many, you have to say many with words like books, chairs, women, and children. The opposite of many is few. So if many means a large number of something that you can count, few is a small number of them. Okay? Few is a small number of them. And a few, with an A before few, is just in between many and few. It is not too many and not too few. In the middle, between. Is it okay? Many, few, many means a lot of. Few, the opposite of many, and a few between, okay, tells us about the number of something that is between many and few. Not too many, not too few, just in between. This is what do we mean by a few. And we use them with countable nouns, nouns that we can add numbers to. Give me examples using these quantifiers, many, few, and a few.
Can I?
Yes, Shiri.
We have many chairs. I have a few computer.
Computers.
Yes, computers. Okay. We have a few tables.
Good, good, great.
Can I, Miss?
So, Jilan, yes?
Yes, okay. I have many things. I mean things يعني أفكار تجي هيك يعني that's true.
Ideas.
Okay. I have many ideas and if you I have many ideas and if you I mean but يعني الجملة مالتي بس كانت على الماني.
That's it. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
I have many ideas. Good, Shilan.
Can
So
I
you
say?
can say, yes, Susie, go ahead.
Okay. I have many flowers
Perfect.
and I don't have a few candles.
No,
Can I?
say any in the negative. So don't get yourself
Yes.
into this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have many flowers and a few candles.
And few what?
Few
Candles.
Yes.
And you are going
Teacher-
to give them to me. Sure. Yeah. Okay. here there are few points, few important points I just want to draw your attention to. First point is about the phonetics, okay? As the phonetic difference between the words few and a few, and also little and a little, is very slight, it is important, okay, to make it clear to the listener, okay? In order to make it clear to the listener, we often add the word very to the words few and little to show the listener which word we are using. I'll give you an example to make things easier to grasp. Take this example. I know a few people here, but I knew few people where I lived before. The second sentence, using the word very, I know a few people here, but I knew very few people where I lived before. You notice when I use the word very, you can hear the difference between few and a few. However, if I remove the word very, okay, the sentence changes to, I know a few people here, but I knew few people where I lived before. This makes it a bit of trouble to the listener to hear the difference between few and a few. It's the same with little and a little. I usually eat little rice, but I ate a little rice yesterday. Using the word very, I usually eat very little rice, but yesterday I ate a little, okay, little rice. You notice? When we use the word very, it helps us hear the difference between little and a little, because this a is a bit of a problem, okay? It's phonetics, okay? The phonetic difference between little and a little, and also few and a few, is very slight. You hardly hear this difference, okay? So we often use the word very in front of, just before, the words few and little to help the listener, okay, to show the listener which word you are using. Is it few or a few? Because with a few and a little, you don't say very a little or very a few. Just say a little, a few. But if you use a few and little and put, okay, move the word very, place the word very before them, here you can help the listener understand that you are using the words few and little. Is it okay? Sometimes it gets tricky and confusing unless we use the word very before few and little, particularly if they are used in the same sentence like this. I usually eat little rice, but I ate a little rice last night. Little in the first part means the opposite of much, and a little in the second part means a certain amount, between too much and too little, okay? It's better to use very before the word little. I usually eat very little rice, but yesterday, okay, but I ate a little rice last night. I know few people here, but I knew a few people where I lived before. You see, you can't tell the difference, you can't hear the difference unless you use the word very before few. Few, which means in the first part we use few, not a few. Few means a small number of people because it's a countable noun. We use it with countable nouns. So I know very few people here, but I knew a few people where I lived before. If you use very, here you can help the listener understand that you are talking about a small number of something or a small amount of something. Is it okay?
Yes, it's okay.
Yes, it's okay.
No, not okay. I don't understand.
Who?
Me?
Shajan? Okay.
Yeah.
We said we use little and a little with uncountable nouns, okay? Few and a few with countable nouns. Few means a small number of something countable, and a few a certain number of something countable. Little and a little, we use them with uncountable nouns. Little means a small amount of something uncountable, we can't count. And a little means a certain amount, okay? It doesn't specify, just a certain, not too much, not too few, between too much and between too few. Sorry, too little.
Okay, Miss, I understand
Too
now.
much and too little. But there's something, okay, tricky about little, a little, and few, and a few. You notice that to express a certain amount or a certain number, we use a little for a certain amount and a few with a certain number. With a small amount, we use little without a, little, and with a small number, we use few. Don't say a few, no. Okay? So if you use these two words in the same sentence, it's better to place the word very before few and little to help the listener make the difference or hear the difference between few and a few, little and a little. If I say myself, I usually eat little bread, but I ate a little last night. Little, a little. It's quite confusing, okay? You can't get the meaning quite clearly because they are used in the same sentence and there's a very slight phonetic difference between them. You have this a with a little and you don't have it with little, and this a is a bit light. You can't really hear it quite clearly, okay? So it's better to use very in front of little and few. So I usually eat very little bread, but I ate a little last night. I know few people here, but I knew a few people where I lived before. This means here in this place, in the place where I live for the time being, okay, where I am based now, I know a small number of people, few. But where I used to live, okay, I knew a few, a certain number, not a small, not a large number, but a certain number between. So to make the difference, don't say, I know few people here, and but I knew a few people where I lived before. It's better to add the word very to few, which means a small number. I know very few people here, but I knew a few people where I lived before. Is it clear now, Shahjan? or Shahjuan?
Yes, miss, clear. Thanks a lot.
Sure? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yes. So the next point about these quantifiers, or the next point is about some words that you expect to be countable, but they're actually uncountable. This may be because they are countable. You can count them in your own language. The most important of these are information, knowledge, advice, news, luggage, furniture, equipment, software, hardware, okay? Evidence, research, all these you expect to be countable, okay? You may think that we can count these nouns in English, but they are not countable. We can't count these words. Is it okay?
Miss, it isn't okay for me.
Okay, I'll explain that again. You see, the words information, knowledge, news, advice, luggage, accommodation, furniture, research, evidence, software, hardware, equipment, all these as an English learner, okay, Shireen, you may think that you can count them. You can say 1 information, 3 evidences, 7 researches, but in fact they are not. In English, these nouns are uncountable. Okay, Shireen?
Yes, okay.
They combine with much, little, and a little. Much information, a little evidence, little research, much furniture, and so on. Is it okay for everybody?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So now if you want to make an uncountable noun countable, a noun that you can't count, make it able to be counted, you should use the appropriate unit of measurement. Examples, much, milk. If you want to count this word, milk is not countable. But if you want to make it countable, you use this unit of measurement, the word glass, glasses. So much milk, many glasses of milk. Little bread, few slices of bread. Much equipment, many pieces of equipment. Because equipment, bread, milk, information are uncountable. We can't add numbers to them. But if you want, in case you want to make them countable, here you should use the appropriate unit of measurement, like a glass for water, for any liquid, okay? For any liquid, you can use glass. For wine, we can say glasses, but they say also pints, okay? We are not concerned with that, but you have to know it. So with liquids, we use the unit of measurement, glasses, glass. With equipment, cheese, advice, we can say, or we can use pieces, pieces of information, pieces of equipment. Use this if you want to make uncountable nouns countable. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, clear.
Yes, Yes, teacher. it's clear.
Now let's look at other quantifiers. If you don't want to worry about whether a noun is countable or uncountable, you can use words that work for both groups, okay? And these are a lot of, lots of, and some. Okay, lots of is the same, means the same as a lot of, but it is just a little more informal than a lot of. We use a lot of and lots of instead of many or much, okay, in both accountable or uncountable context. If you want to show the amount, to talk about the amount, how large, okay, if you want to talk about a large amount of something uncountable, or if you want to talk about a large number of something countable, you can use lots of or a lot of. It is used with both countable and non-countable nouns. You can say, I have a lot of money, okay, and I know lots of people or a lot of people. Some, in fact, means a little or a few. It replaces a little or a few. Okay, and we said a little and a few mean a certain amount of something uncountable or a certain number of something countable. You can say, for example, I met some old friends last night, which means a few. I ate some rice last night, which means a little. A certain amount, a certain number. A couple of points to note about the usage of a lot of and lots of. First point is that a lot of and lots of or lots of is more common in positive sentences, okay? In positive sentences, I have a lot of money. This is a positive sentence. I ate a lot of rice. I have a lot of friends. I usually take a lot of sugar, okay? But in negative sentences and questions, you can use both. I mean, a lot of, lots of, much or many. Remember that much and many are not common in positive sentences. We use with positive sentences lots of or a lot of, lots of or a lot of. But in questions and negative sentences, we can use both, a lot of, lots of, much or many. Is it okay up to now?
Yes,
Okay.
it's okay.
Mm-hmm. And the last thing to note related to the usage of a lot of, lots of, is that after words like so, to, as, and very, we use many or much, even though the sentence is positive, okay? Even though the sentence is positive, we use much, many after the words so, very, to, and as. We don't say a lot of. For example, I know, we don't say so a lot of information, but so much information, okay? As much money, because we have this little word as that precedes much, okay? We don't say as a lot of or as lots of. No, even though the sentence is positive. I repeat that, even though the sentence is positive, after the words so, very, to, and as, we use much and many. Too many questions, not too a lot of questions, too many questions, okay? So much information, as much evidence. Is that clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Any questions?
I don't have any question.
The others? The others, do you have questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. So let me recap on that. Today, we did quantifiers, and we said quantifiers are words that describe a large amount or a large number of something, a certain amount or a certain number of something, a small amount or a small number of something. We saw also the quantifiers much, little, and a little, and we said we use these with uncountable nouns. And many, before, much means a large amount, little means a small amount, and a little is a certain amount in between much and little, not too much, not too little. Then we looked at many, few, and a few, which is just the opposite of much, I mean, in terms of usage, okay? Of much, little, and a little. They mean the same, but in terms of usage, much, little, and a little are used with uncountable nouns, nouns that we can't count, and many, few, and a few, we use them with nouns we can count, we can add numbers to. Many means a large number of something that we can count, of course, and few means a small number of something that we can count, and a few means a certain number of something that we can count, just in between. It means between, okay, a number in between many and few, not too many, not too few. A reasonable number or a reasonable amount if you are talking about an uncountable something, okay? And we talked about the phonetic difference between a little and also few and a few, and we said we often use the word, or we add the word very just in front of the words few and little to help the listener make the difference, okay, or hear the difference between little and a little, few and a few. If you use very little, this will help the listener understand that you are talking about a small amount and not a certain amount. And if you use very few, again, it helps the listener get or understand that you are talking about a small number and not a reasonable or a certain number. After that, we had a look at nouns that you might think that they are countable, but in fact they are not in English. And I gave you examples of some of these nouns, like information, advice, luggage, furniture, software, hardware, and so on. Next, we talked about the use of units of measurement. And here, if you want to make an uncountable noun countable, you can use some units of measurement. All you need is to just pick up the appropriate, or to use the appropriate unit of measurement, like we saw with milk or with most liquids. We use the word glasses to make the word, for example, water, milk, juice, countable. Many glasses of juice, 7 glasses of water, 2 glasses of milk, okay? And pieces with equipment, advice, information, slices with bread, many slices of bread. And in case you don't want to worry about whether a noun is countable or uncountable, you can use words that work for both types of nouns. I mean, words like a lot of, lots of, or some, okay? These words work for both countable and non-countable nouns. We use them with both groups of nouns, with countable and non-countable. You can say a lot of money and a lot of people. Money is uncountable, yet we use a lot of. And people is countable, and we use a lot of. A lot of shows how much or how many of something, and some shows a a few or a little, a certain amount or a certain number. Is it clear? Do you need any repetition or any clarification? Hurry up because we are running out of time.
Okay, miss, it's clear.
Sinahi magazine for the blind.